to do when we submit the form. Let's add it to a list. Sound good? We're old pros at this now. We can do this in our sleep. Heck. So let's put the list on the page. This time we're not going to create a whole new UL for each flick. We're just going to create one that holds them all, and then each new flick is going to be an LI. So in index.html, I'm going to make another div under this one that has this same size. So still inside div class gridX, but after the one that contains the form. I actually screwed that up this morning. I just realized. We'll do this again. And inside there, we'll put a UL with an ID of flick list, something we can target. Cool. So since each new flick is going to be added to the same list, I really don't want to call document.querySelector a million times, so I'm not going to do it inside handle submit. Instead, I'd like to save a reference to that list as a property of my object. So up here in init, I initialize max. I'm also going to create a property called list and set that to document.querySelector. The ID was flick-list. And I don't care that it's a UL. If I changed it to a DL or something later, or even a div, doesn't matter. It's the ID I'm interested in. In fact, init doesn't really even need to know exactly what the selector is to grab this thing from the DOM. So we could pass it in as an argument as well. So if we did that, it might be a little hard to tell which argument is in what order, so we could do form selector, list selector like this. But then when we call it, it's not really obvious what these arguments are, is it? So a pattern that you'll often see is that you pass in an object. So let's just name this object selectors. And we'll say that object is going to have properties of selectors dot list selector and selectors dot form selector. And the nice thing about that is when we call it, we can do this. So they need to be on an object, right? Form selector colon, form hash flick form, list selector colon, flick list. So it's clear from looking at this line what each of these arguments is, and it means we can pass them in any order, right? What matters is the key, not the order. So we don't have to remember, oh, the form selector comes before the list selector. It no longer matters. And of course, I can always put my trailing comma there, just in case we have more selectors later. So we're setting this dot list to that. Does it work? Refresh. If that worked, I should be able to say app.list. Yep. I get the UL. So now what do I do with it? Inside handle submit, I could start adding list items to it, right? May as well do that in a separate function. So we'll make render list item. And this time, it's a method on this object. Don't forget your comma. And what does it need to do? I mean, what does it need to know about from the outside? It needs to know about the flick, right? So we can build the list item out of that. Okay, pass in the flick. And let's build the list item. Const item equals document.create element. What kind of element? An li. Let's set the text content of that item to flick.name, right? And let's make sure we return the item, having now built it. So instead of console logging the flick, I want to make that list item and append it to the list. Now I don't need a whole function to render the list, do I? I've already got it. I've already got it as a property of this. So I could say this.list.append child, right? This.list is set up here. We tested that out in the console and saw that it is in fact the list. So append child, and then we could call this.render list item, or if we want, just for the sake of readability or clarity, just make a variable called list item, call this dot render list item, not just render list item, this dot. It expects an argument, right? We want to pass in this object right here. Flick. And it's this list item we just built that we want to append to this.list. Does it work? Nothing we haven't done before. No, he really hasn't made a ton of movies. Armageddon. There it is. Pearl Harbor. It's doing it. Look at us. Ain't we special? Inspect this. Yep, it's all inside a single UL. Got a couple LIs. We are pros, folks. What do we do? Add flicks to an unordered list. Piece of cake. We've done it before.